What is up, guys? DVD number 1 here today. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my birthday! Yay! I am currently 20 years old. Holy crapperjacker. So, to celebrate this very special occasion, oh yes, I'm speaking like this. Yes, I'm Sean Connery, you know. Oh yes, I was the first James Bond. I like my cocktail shaken instead. Joking besides, guys, to celebrate this oh so special occasion, I thought I would do another Who Would Win. But this time, I'm doing it all on my own. I know you're thinking, wait, what? It's been ages since you've done one on your own. I know. I would do this with someone else, but sadly I don't think there's many people who study like characters as much as I do. Like, there's these people I know that like, oh, I love Dragon Ball Z, but when I ask them, do you know everything about them like in acute detail, they're like, not really. And I'm like, oh, that's sad. So I don't know, sometimes I feel like I'm the only one who studies everything about a certain character. So, I've been waiting to do this one for absolute ages. So, ladies and gentlemen, a great warrior. So I have taken the two most greatest punchers in the fictional universe, and I'm making them duke it out in this amazing battle. From the world of Street Fighter, the Master of the Fist, Akuma. And from the world of Sonic the Hedgehog, the Guardian of the Master Emerald, Knuckles the Echidna. These two are legends of the Fist. They are masters in their own right, and they both have a fiery red hot temper, and they have all the reasons to have it. These guys have never met until today. Not many people think of this battle, but I have. We're going to find out today who is the better puncher, who is the absolute best, who can outbox who can punch the other one's lights out, who can literally knock the other's block off, who is the Master of the Fist, who is the strongest, who is the real redhead, who is the real hot-headed son of a bitch, who's got the most anger, who is the angriest of the two, but most importantly of everything, who would win? Born in the mountain farm ranges of Japan, two young boys by the name of Goki and Goken were raised and lived on a nice, quiet little farm with a retired fighter and a loving mother. But one day, treacherous bandits and thieves came to their farmhouse and forced them to leave, while their father stayed behind and battled them off. The reason why they fought him is because he used to be a warrior trained in the style of Ansasuken. They wanted to prove that Ansasuken is nothing compared to real assassin style of killing. They killed him off. The boys were left fatherless and motherless. Retreating to their father's old master's temple, they would spend most of their teenage lives training under the art of Ansasuken under the current master Gotetsu, the current master of the Fist. Goki and Goken were brothers, the oldest being Goken and Goki the youngest. They would train together and be rivals. The way of Ansasuken turned on one brother more than the other. Goki saw it for what it really was, a hungry type of martial arts style. Something that you can't hold back on. If you're going to use it, you have to use every aspect. But his brother Go-Ken believed, along with his master Go-Tetsu, that maybe there is a peaceful way to use it without going into the power most associated with Ansatsuken. That power is known as the Sasui no Hado, also known as murderer's intent. The Sasui no Hado eventually started to consume young Goki's mind, making him violent and more susceptible. One day during the training regimen, to prove who was the better component at that time, Goki and Go-Ken duked it out, putting him against the wall, preparing to do a Hadouken to his own brother, only to be stopped by Sakura. The niece of Go-Tetsu. Go-Tetsu then asked Goki to join him inside the dojo. He asked him why would he use the Sasui no Hado. He warned him about reading the scrolls and what would happen if he couldn't control it. Goki didn't care, for he believed that his master had no right to hold back any secrets from Goki. Go-Tetsu wasn't having any of it. He said, "You either apologize to your brother and give up this wild dream, or you be banished." Goki did apologize, but he said, but in not the way Go-Tetsu anticipated. He apologized, but he said now that they're both warriors of Ansatsuken, they are both rivals forever, and he can no longer go with the ways of his master. He left the dojo, leaving a broken-hearted Sakura behind, a confused and upset brother, and a disappointed master. After a few years training alone in a cave, he fully tapped in and controlled the power of the Ansatsuken style and the Sasui no Hado. He wanted to fully unlock true potential, to become the best he can be. He did the unthinkable. He performed what is known as the Sasui no Hado ritual, where you can contribute your soul to the Sasui no Hado to gain its immense infinite power. Every man before him who tried to do this ritual would be absorbed by the Sasui no Hado. His master and his brother assumed he was absorbed, for they saw what was happening that day, for the ritual turned the sky bright red, and they couldn't sense Goki's energy anymore. That's because Goki was long gone. No longer could they feel a good energy anymore. All that's left was the shadow of Goki, and in the body was the new Goki, one who had done the unthinkable. Instead of being absorbed by the Sasui no Hado, he absorbed it. He became a Shin Oni, a demon, a half man, half demon. This collaboration of man and demon would be unprecedented, the power unreal, something beyond control. Goki was somehow still in there, but he had fully changed. He would go back to the dojo to challenge his master to a battle, to win the title, Master of the Fist. His master agreed to the challenge. Originally, he tried to convince Goki not to face him, for this was folly. Goki was not going to listen. He said there can only be one Master of Ansatsuken, and that was not going to be Go-Tetsu anymore. After a grueling battle, Go-Tetsu looked like he had the upper hand. Preparing himself with his Sasui no Hado powers, he prepared a Metsu Hadouken, powerful enough to wipe out any man, no matter how powerful. But Akuma knew a way around it. He did the unthinkable, a secret, forbidden technique that one that only a man would really think of. That one that a man would have to have the mind of a demon, like a samurai warrior would. He then no longer called himself Goki. He would forever call himself and forever be known as Akuma, Master of the Fist. Akuma would spend many years training alone, perfecting the style of Sasuke, getting stronger, facing many worthy foes along the way. He would be taller than that of any man. He would be stronger. He would be better. He would be the ultimate warrior. No man had ever defeated him. Only one man ever stood in his way, and that was his unknown to him, his own son, Ryu. The newest and one of the youngest users of Sasuke, trained by Akuma's brother Goken. Ryu learned the style of Sasuke and the power of nothingness, or Muno Hado. Akuma knew that Ryu had the Masashi no Hado inside of him. He originally thinking it was his brother reactivating the power, not knowing it was Ryu. He challenged his brother one last time. When Ryu finally went away on his Mushashayo, Akuma and Goken finally duked it out, with the victor being Akuma. Now there was only one Master of the Fist, and that was Akuma. No one would ever stand in his way again. There would only be one who could, and that was Ryu. He swore to revenge on Akuma for killing his master. After years and years, Akuma would fight many foes and try and convince Ryu to fully give in to the Sasui no Hado, for he was born with the power, and he could potentially be stronger than himself. Ryu of course refused. He said he would never be like Akuma. Little did he know, he was more like Akuma than he realized. Akuma would go on to achieve many transformations and many powers along the way, learning more techniques than he ever thought possible. He would face many foes. He would fight many people across the universe. Eventually, he would achieve a form which would allow him to destroy both heaven and earth at the same time. He had finally become a true demon, an Oni, a being of absolute evil and destruction, power beyond imagining. The world and the universe would forever know and fear the name Akuma, Master of the Fist, the strongest street fighter in the universe. He would learn about his ancestors over the years. 8 years later, a mysterious man by the name of Dr. Robotnik would come to his island, warning him of a blue hedgehog that would come and steal the Master Emerald. He waited patiently for this blue hedgehog. Eggman did warn him he may look gold for the time being, but he will turn blue if not knocked out of his transformation. Upon entering the island, Sonic was uppercutted by a strange red being, and the Chaos Emeralds was stolen. He announced his name. I am Knuckles, Guardian of the Master Emerald. You come here to my island and try and take my emerald. You come asking for a world of pain. Leave this island, or you will regret it. But after being convinced to Knuckles that Dr. Eggman was after the emerald and was lied to, Knuckles would then join Sonic and Tails in stopping Eggman in using the Master Emerald to rule the world. Eventually, he would win. Sonic and Knuckles and Tails would save the day, and Dr. Eggman would flee. Many years would go by. Knuckles would learn of the Asian fighting styles of his people, and would eventually join the Sonic Heroes team. With the leader being Sonic the Hedgehog, he would face many great foes along the way along with Sonic, and would become best friends with Sonic. Finally, at the age of 20 years old, Knuckles fully mastered the ways and the knowledge of his people. But he would still need to learn more than he already knew to be a great fighter in the world he lived in. He learned a special technique only known to the Echidnas, known as the Mega Punch. A special style of hitting with such incredible force that not even mighty elephants could compare to the same amount of force put into these very punches. Knuckles learned this technique to a T, and eventually applied it to a special style he learned from watching other city people. He would eventually learn that his ancestors' style wasn't far off the same thing. He would adapt his ancestors' style to the style that he would see in the city, and through training regimens with Sonic and the rest of the freedom fighters, Knuckles became the greatest boxer in the world. He mastered every single style of boxing there ever could be. Outsider boxing, brawl, slugger style, brawler style, every Rocky Balboa style, any style you can think of. He knows it and has mastered it to a T. There was no one who could outbox Knuckles. Knuckles would eventually learn other martial arts but never master them. Knuckles would go on defeating many opponents while helping out the rest of the freedom fighters and receiving help from the freedom fighters. He would eventually face demigods, demons, creatures of other worlds, and gods themselves. The entire universe would learn and know the name Knuckles the Echidna, Guardian of the Master Emerald, the strongest in the Sonic universe. Even the Chaos God of Strength himself does not compare to this mighty Echidna. For no one can match the fighting and punching prowess of this red-headed Echidna known as Knuckles. Alright, these combatants are pretty much set, so let's end this debate once and for all. Now that we need to get into the categories. Now these two technically don't have weapons in the versions I'm using. They have used weapons, but they usually don't use them in battle. For the record, I'm using both comic book Akuma and comic book Knuckles to make this a technical fair fight. If this was video game comparison, it'd be kind of harder. And no offense, a little bit more tedious. But let's get into this, shall we? The first category, as always, is strength. Now this, oh boy, this is the big one. This is the one that makes you, that's gonna make everyone slightly rage, no matter who I pin on top. So I'm gonna give the absolute some of the best feats of strength these two have ever done. I'll start with Akuma first. Well, Akuma has, let's just say, a lot. There was the time he was underwater and he punched a submarine so hard it shot right on the ocean and only exploded and cracked out when it got outside the water. Not while it was under the water, only when it got outside. Holy shit. Then one time he destroyed an island. One time he, in his Shin level 1 or 2 form, or I think no, actually level 1. Now that I remember, he destroyed a meteorite twice the size of the planet Earth. He also technically beat Seth without even trying. He beat the shit out of Seth, who is basically Cell of the Street Fighter universe, without even trying. Holy shit. Now if that's not a strength feat, I don't know what is. But let's have a look at let's try now. There probably are a lot of other great strength feats he's done. Like for example, with his strength, I don't know if this is with his power, but it is said that with his strength, with his absolute maximum strength, he destroyed heaven and earth at the same time. Now I know what you're thinking, wait, doesn't he live on Earth? Well, yeah, he destroyed heaven and earth, and then there's this sort of weird wizard genie guy in the Street Fighter universe who revived the earth, so it was all good. No. So yeah, but Akuma destroyed the earth by accident. He didn't mean to do it. It was actually accidental. He actually was legit sorry about it. And that was actually the first time Akuma ever apologized properly. He was sorry because he felt kind of a little bit embarrassed. Well, shit. So there's that. But let's have a look at some of Knuckles' feats. He has destroyed many of Eggman's robots with a single punch. He once destroyed half a meteorite with a backhand. Oh wait, sorry, not meteorite, a mountain. My bad. And one time, and this is possibly his greatest feat of strength, he punched the moon when it was half made of metal. From the measurement as I calculated, he punched it at least 10 kilometers away to the left, and the moon doesn't go left and right as far as I know. Well, it might do from some perspectives of the earth, but it went the completely wrong way. Knuckles punched it when it was half made of solid metal in base form, 10 kilometers to the left. Yeah, he was in space and he punched the moon, half made of metal, 10 kilometers away from him. Holy shit sticks. I don't know about you, but that is strong. But I know what you're thinking. how does that compare to Akuma's fate? Well, let's do some calculations, shall we? Okay, as far as I can tell, Knuckles technically only has 2 transformations. Well, 2.5 to be precise-ish. There's Super Knuckles, then there's Hyper Knuckles, then there's Hyper Knuckles Chaos Emerald energy form. He can actually absorb some of the energy from the Master Emerald and gain his incredible energy for a pretty long period of time, but it doesn't last forever, and it takes up a lot of his own chaos energy. Think of it as a kind of a Super Kaioken form in a sense. It's great on power, but it drains his energy quite a lot. Now Super Knuckles multiplies everything by 1,000, so that's 1,000 moons half made of metal. Then multiply that by 2,000. Oh boy, that is 2 million moons made of half metal. Then added with the Master Emerald aura power, which gives Knuckles a 50 times multiplier. Oh my fricking god. That is 100 million moons half made of solid metal that he can punch away. Holy shit! And that is in its final form. But while that is amazingly strong and unbelievable, there is one problem. While yes, that is a lot of moves he can punch. That all of them together would possibly make it bigger than a sun. But there's a problem. Akuma destroyed both heaven and earth. Earth is already 4 times bigger than the moon. And heaven is technically another universe that people just go to when they die. He destroyed a universe and earth with his strength alone in his final form. Not only that, in his second form, or third, depending on how you look at it, Akuma destroyed a meteorite twice the size of the Earth with his strength. Yeah, Knuckles moved the moon, which is good, but Akuma destroyed a meteorite twice the size of the Earth. Now I know what you're thinking, but if you can move something really heavy by punching it hard, wouldn't that make you stronger? Technically not. As much, sure, you're exerting such a force that you move a stationary object away from you, yes, but there's a difference between momentum power and destruction power, and sadly destruction power comes out over momentum. Knuckles did punch the moon far away, yes, and he can punch a 10 million moons half made of metal away pretty well. But there's one problem. Akuma didn't punch the meteorite away. He destroyed it with a single punch. And he also destroyed Heaven, which is another universe, and Earth with one punch. That's a universe and Earth. So yeah, that's way better than 10 million moons. Even if we bring into account that Knuckles in his hyper form, as far as I think is Hyper Knuckles, again, who battled against Super Sonic when they were classic, destroyed a zone once when they collided. Now this is the thing, zones in the Sonic multiverse technically count as another universe. However, this zone was actually known as a small zone, meaning it was a universe, but it was a very small one. And according to And according to one of the writers of the Sonic comics, apparently it was only about a quarter the size of the universe Knuckles actually lives in with Sonic. So yeah, while Knuckles can destroy a quarter of the universe he lives in, Akuma destroyed an entire universe and the Earth. And the Earth was by accident. By accident. Now yes, Knuckles, that was classic Knuckles, and he probably got way stronger than that over the years. Especially if you go to modern or even future Knuckles, who's way stronger than that in his final form. Knuckles could possibly destroy maybe a whole universe if he tried, but there's a problem. While he can destroy a quarter of a universe, technically he destroyed only half of it with Sonic. Sonic was the other half of that power that destroyed it. So Knuckles didn't even destroy a quarter. He technically destroyed an eighth of a universe, because half of a quarter would be an eighth, or 2/8. Yeah, Knuckles destroyed two. No wait, hold on. Would it? Oh, sorry, I did completely just go blank then. Yeah, 2/8 is 1/4. So Knuckles can only destroy 1/8. And even if he got a lot stronger since his classic form that did that feat, there is a problemo. While yes, he probably got a lot stronger, that's 1/8 of a universe. So here's where we get into calculations. Sonic's oldest age as classic Sonic was when he was 13. If we go all the way to future Sonic when he gains his last transformation and is at his oldest, where he's like around 40 reaching 50, he is at the very least 400 times better than his original form, than his classic form when he was 13. Now if Sonic destroyed a eighth of the universe along with Knuckles, they destroyed about an eighth each, and Sonic was in his super form, 400 times better than that. 400 eighths, yeah, this is going to be a bit complicated. Now, I don't even think it, but by the sounds of it, Demon Sonic, it sounds like Sonic can destroy a universe. While granted, yes, he probably sounds like he could, but here is the literal problem. While Sonic and Knuckles destroyed a small universe by colliding, so Sonic has never shown that he has or could destroy his universe. While he probably has the power to do it, he just never shows that he could. However, I would say Knuckles probably could destroy the universe he exists in. At the oldest he gets, which is at around 48 years old, because Sonic's age was around 47 in the last one of the comic series where he gets really old, and Knuckles has always been a year older than Sonic, so that would mean Knuckles is 48. At the oldest, Knuckles probably could destroy an entire universe by himself. However, Akuma did this heaven and earth feat nowhere near the end of the comics. There were at least another 35 comics after he did this feat. and it said he got way stronger than that. And that was with Akuma's strength alone. God knows how much better he can do with added power and speed on top of that. Now, while granted, yes, Knuckles did do his small universe feat in his second form. Akuma did this universe and earth feat in his final form. And the multipliers are a bit different in the Street Fighter universe. They're not as ridiculously high in the Sonic universe for some reason. However, while the multipliers may be smaller, that doesn't mean they're weaker. It just means that they don't need a multiplier that much to get more power. Now Knuckles and Akuma did their universe destroying feat early in their careers. Knuckles technically couldn't have destroyed that whole zone without the help of Sonic at that point of time. Akuma destroyed an entire universe and Earth all by himself. No one was battling him. No one was on the other end of his fist. He literally ground fisted heaven and Earth and destroyed both by himself. Knuckles probably could maybe destroy a universe by himself at his absolute best. However, so far there's no evidence to suggest that he can or could or even would. So with all that, after all the extensive research and after everything that comes into it, it's sad to say, I'm sorry, but Akuma is the official winner of this strength battle. Akuma is the strongest in comparison to Knuckles. Knuckles came very, very close, but Akuma just outranks him. So I'm sorry Knuckles, but Akuma wins in strength. Now, there are a lot of other categories to go through, but I think I should just get this over quick. Million miles per hour, and then with the added 50 from his Master Emerald's aura, that would be something like 250 million miles per hour, which is ridiculously fast. But as funny as this is, as far as I know, that is just below light speed. As far as I know, that is just below light speed. As far as I know. So Knuckles could go just under light speed in his final form, which is amazing. Akuma has never been fast. Not to say that he's slow, the fastest thing he has is his teleportation technique, which is instantaneous, just like the instant transmission or the chaos control warp. But here lies a problem. Akuma has never been a speedster. He's a fast fighter, yes, but he's never been shown to be fast. Even Akuma has his limits. There's actually a character in the Street Fighter universe who's actually called the fastest. That is called Yang. He is the fastest in the Street Fighter universe. And in comparison, Akuma's a slug and Yang is a cheater on steroids. Yep! Yang is way faster than Akuma. So fast that Akuma could barely even touch him sometimes when they have sparring matches. Not to say Yang has ever won any, but Akuma has had a very hard time hitting Yang because he's that fast. So by comparison, while Knuckles may or may not be Yang level, but he is definitely fast enough to outpace Akuma. So Knuckles would win in speed. But now we get into fighting. While Knuckles has mastered boxing and would give him a pretty solid defense and good center of gravity, and he has learned some basic forms of wrestling and karate thanks to Vector and Sonic. Yes, Vector knows wrestling, specifically alligator wrestling. How funny, when he's a crocodile. Go figure. So Knuckles learned moves like the suplex and the power bomb, and even sometimes he even does a spear. And from karate, he learned to karate chop, do a few karate kicks, and a few karate punch techniques. But Knuckles' main go-to attacking style is boxing. He knows every style. He could go in slugger style with hard punches and be a real slobber knocker. He could stay outside, study, and wait for openings in his opponent with an outsider style, such as Kung Fu, boxing, Muay Thai, Taekwondo, and many, many, many more. I don't think there's ever been a martial art style Akuma hasn't faced. Akuma knows of two boxers, Balrog and Dudley. He has faced them both and beat both to a living pulp. Less on Dudley because Dudley's a good guy, and Akuma kind of respects him a little bit. And how can you hate Dudley? Look at him. I mean, have you seen his mustache? That's a lovely mustache. And he has a rose all the time. I mean, that's just nice. But anyway, while Knuckles' fighting style would give him a pretty solid defense, Akuma is more open range with his attacks. He can go into a kind of a boxer fighting style himself, but he has way more moves than Knuckles has. He has strong karate strikes, lots of kicks, and many more techniques than Knuckles. While Knuckles may have his what's known as his dolphin punch, where he digs underground and comes up literally like a dolphin punching his opponent. He also has the underground uppercut attack, and then there's his signature move, the Meteor Fist, where he literally hits with the force of a meteorite with a single punch. At maximum power, he can hit with a force strong enough to destroy Jupiter in base form. Holy crapper-jacker. While yes, Knuckles has many good few styles, and even has a former Meteor Fist where he throws a giant fireball out of his fist. Not even kidding. Akuma has so much more. He has the Hadouken, the Shoryuken, the Tatsumaki Senpukyak. The Demon Teleportation Technique, Shinku Hadouken, Mesu Hadouken. I think he also knows Shinku and Mesu Shoryuken. He also has Sasu no Hado Shoryuken, or Dark Shoryuken. He has the Shangoku Zatsu. the demon extermination move, where he kicks you in the air, uses Tatsumaki-sen Pokyak to act like a helicopter, flying everywhere, then he kicks you so hard, you go literally flying. He did this very same technique to Ryu, and he kicked him so hard he went through another... He went through a portal back to their universe. He kicked him so hard, he made a portal show up. Damn! That's brutal. He also has his own special fist attack called the Ground Fist, where he literally punches the ground with such force that energy waves come bursting out, literally out of nowhere. In fact, it was this very same technique in his final form that he used to destroy. And Akuma has mastered every fighting style he has learned: karate, kenpo, judo, and aikido. That's 3 martial art styles. Knuckles has mastered boxing, but he has not mastered karate or wrestling. And he only learned basic karate from Sonic and Shadow, and basic wrestling from Vector. He is an incredible boxer, even defeating Shadow with it. Yeah, he defeated Shadow, who's basically Vegeta of the Sonic universe. What? Yeah, he beat him, and Knuckles is essentially meant to be Piccolo. O.M. Rickety J. While there is that, there is one thing. Knuckles has been defeated by other characters before. Sonic has beaten him. Tails technically beat him once. Shadow beat Knuckles once. Silver beat Knuckles. And a lot of other people have beaten him. However, Knuckles has won many battles himself. In fact, he has almost beaten every other member of the Freedom Fighters at least once. He beat Shadow, Silver, Tails, Sonic, Metal Sonic, and even Blaze fought him and lost. Oh, and Amy. He fought Amy. Oh, and Rouge. Forgot to mention Rouge. Yeah, that's a lot. But Akuma has faced every fighter in the Street Fighter universe and beat them all. Every single one of them. Do you know how many there are? There are over 30 of them. 30! That's the heroes and the bad guys. And the people that are just in the middle. He has fought and beat them every single one. He only ever lost one battle to his brother, Goken, once. And that's before he was Akuma. He only ever lost one battle. Now people say Ryu did beat Akuma in their battle, but technically no. In technicality it was a draw, which means neither one of them won, but neither one of them lost. So yeah, Ryu didn't win that battle, and every other time Akuma's faced Ryu, yeah, Ryu has lost. Like, he cannot beat Akuma. Seriously, no matter how hard he tries. The closest he got was when they drew. Once! They only drew the one time, and then, ever since then, Akuma has beaten Ryu every time. No one has ever beaten Akuma officially except for his brother Goken. Now yes, that was his master's decision, but it was still a fight. Akuma knows a fight no matter if there is rules or it does not. He accepts a win or a loss whether there's rules or not. So with all that, Knuckles doesn't really have many techniques to exploit against Akuma, not many special moves against Akuma, and while the Chaos power is amazing, Knuckles is a bit of a disadvantage. Knuckles doesn't know how to use Chaos control, like at all. He tried it once and it just wouldn't work. Like seriously, he can't even make time go slow, which is the basic thing you can do with it. The basic. But one of the things he can do is Chaos Heal, which is a very special technique that not even Sonic has fully learned. He knows how to do basic healing, like for a scar or a bruise. But Knuckles can heal anyone from anything with Chaos Heal. He even once healed Tails, who was on the brink of death, back to life. He was essentially Dende at that moment. Yeah, fucking Dende. Holy crap-a-jacker. No, and he can use it on himself, but there's lies the problem. It takes up a lot of energy. And Akuma might not let Knuckles heal up. And Knuckles might not want to. Knuckles is stubborn. And he might want to try and prove he can beat Akuma without healing. And that will ultimately be his downfall. Akuma's just way too strong. Knuckles may come second. A close, great second. And maybe faster, but Akuma has way more techniques and special moves. Is actually technically way more powerful than Knuckles, and just outclasses Knuckles. The only real advantage Knuckles has is that he's second strongest to Akuma, but faster. That's literally almost all he has. He has a pretty solid defense, but as everyone knows, not everything is impenetrable. There is a flaw in everyone's defense as a fighter. No one ever has a perfect defense. Not even Neji, who said his A-palm rotation technique was an impenetrable defense. Naruto found a way around it, or should I say, under it. He literally burrowed underground and uppercutted him, because he knew the rotation thing worked on ground, but not underground. It wasn't a sphere. It was more of a sort of a bubble that didn't go underground. So yeah, no defense is ever impenetrable, and Akuma will eventually break down Knuckles' defenses. So when it comes down to it, at the end of the day, while Knuckles is a great fighter and the strongest in his universe, Akuma is just much stronger and has way more fighting techniques and way more power moves and just a way better winning streak than Knuckles. Knuckles has lost to many members of the Freedom Fighters, and while he has beaten almost every single one of them, even Sonic himself. However, Knuckles only beat Sonic on a technicality. Sonic was already tired after battling every other member of the Freedom Fighters. He literally challenged every member of the Freedom Fighters to a battle, and Knuckles was the last opponent, and he only won because Sonic was really tired. So Knuckles only won on a technicality. If Sonic was at 100%, I don't think he would have won. And when Knuckles tries to copy someone's martial arts style and fight against someone else who's already mastered theirs, yeah, he loses instantly. He even had a CQC match with Shadow, who mastered the CQC and lost every single time. They did 5 rounds of it and Knuckles didn't get any better. But Akuma has won every single match he's ever been in after he became Akuma. He only ever lost one battle before he was Akuma and tied once or twice when he was actually Akuma. So, I'm sorry for all you Sonic fans, but this battle by no means was clear cut, but it is simply not in Knuckles' favor. It looks like this red-headed Knuckles, red-headed Echidna is nothing against this red-headed half-demon. The winner of this battle of who would win, ladies and gentlemen, is Akuma, the master of the fist. And thank you guys so much for this. It's my birthday and this was a very special video. I quite enjoyed this battle as I've been wanting to say this one for a while. If you guys would like to discuss a battle with me, then do ask in the comments if you could do a discussion with me. I will do a discussion with you if you want to. But I only have kind of one rule. You kind of have to have studied someone really, really well. Because I've been with people who either because no offense to my friend Blood Dragon, he sometimes has to look on a wiki to know about a character. While as for me, I can kind of remember a character off by hand by studying what I've watched of them. But if I don't know about if I know very little about a character, I will study up on them and then do know enough. But also guys, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to join the Hedgehog Army /Nation today, also click the notification bell so you know exactly when I make a video. Also don't forget to stay awesome, and as always, a Dragon Fist. Hiya!